Good day, my loves. How you doing? How you feeling? I hope you are well, or at least can be expected depending on your circumstance. I am doing good. I am better than good, though. I'm blessed. I am divinely guided and divinely protected. I am wise. I am learned. And I am learning to put my knowledge to good use. And so I posted my first video yesterday in a long time for me. And I was talking about me being on hiatus and what I be thinking about. But when I post this video, because this one is 9/28, 7/11, I just want to give you guys an update because I had a vision of 9/27. And I was watching a reader, and she was talking about something was going to happen in 3 weeks, but it was like cataclysmic. It was going to be climactic and all kinds of stuff. But that didn't happen. But what did happen is when I woke up yesterday, the devil was busy. And I made a video about it yesterday. But the good thing out of that, what happened on 9/27 wasn't what I thought was going to happen, but I did wind up getting a car. And the way God works and the way this universe works and the way our ancestors work, everything is so connected, y'all. Nothing happens by chance and nothing happens by accident. And I was irritated yesterday after an issue, which, as long as I'm here, I'm always going to have an issue. So I'm trying to remedy that now. But I was so irritated. Like, okay, God, I don't know what this is, but I got to go. I gotta go. So I sent out a text message to at least 5 people in my phone, just asking for help. Just asking for help. 2 people called back. 1 called back and gave me moral support. That was my second mama up in New York. And she's actually the mother of an ex-lover. I can't even say he was my boyfriend because he wasn't. But from my old hometown. And the first moment I met her, I hung out with her more than I did her son. So when I stopped fooling with him, I still fool with his mama and still call her and still talk to her and stuff like that. So, but another person reached out, and it was a homegirl of mine who was my roommate when we did our study abroad over in Europe. She was my roommate. We smoked a little weed in Belgium from a couple of our people went to Amsterdam, and when they came back, they brought back some weed, y'all. And we rolled a small joint. Well, I rolled it. And we walked around Belgium getting high as hell. That shit was funny as hell. Excuse my French. I'm trying to learn how to not curse as much, which I think I do a good job. Anywho, she reached out and was like, oh my God, Danny, I was thinking about you. You was on my mind, and I was going to reach out to you to see how you were doing. And but she got caught up. People get caught up with their life. And she was like, I was thinking about you, and I'm so glad you reached out to me because I have a car for you. What? She was like, I have a car for you. She was like, and you can store your stuff here if you need to. And she was like, I have everything you need, but I just don't have room for a body to be here. She was like, or you could stay with me. She has a beautiful house and a full basement, but she already has a married couple living with her and, other folks too. So I get it. I wasn't disappointed. I wasn't sad or anything like that because I was very grateful that she had a car for me. Do you know how much freedom that provides me? A car. That means I don't have to ask. That's just one more step away from me liberating myself from the lion's den. Because I don't have to ask nobody for a ride. I don't have to ask nobody, and they don't have to feel no type of way. They already feel some type of way with my presence, okay? But they don't have to feel no type of way. Then I don't have no restrictions on my time. Who asks what store you going to? Because, like, every time now. So, that's liberating for me. But she was like, I'm so glad you reached out to me. I'm so glad you called because I have this car. And she let her neighbor that was driving it because they didn't have one. But she already has a car and she had no need for it. So she was about to put it up on Reddit or try and sell it and everything. Just got it serviced and everything. I'm talking about new battery, spark plugs, new oil, everything. And so I know she told me what type of car it was, but in my excitement and in my emotional state, since I was like really just ready to go, I I didn't pay attention to what the make and model of the car was. But she was like, I'm so glad you reached out to me. She said, because I was really ready to put it up, and I kept going back and forth with myself, and she was like, no, I'm not gonna do it yet. Not going and I said, girl, there was a reason. She was like, I'm so glad. And then she was heading out of town this week, like Wednesday. She was actually gonna leave tomorrow. But she said, I'll leave it until Wednesday. And so she was like, I'm so glad you reached out to me. I'm so glad I was on your list to reach out to. Right? And so we experience the same things, except for she deals with it with just her mom and her sister. And she still has her dad, and very loving and stuff. But so she gets me and she gets what I'm going through. And we were talking yesterday, and I was like, I just gotta go. And she was like, the people around you can be supportive of your decisions, but we can't tell you to go even though we know that's the best thing for you. She said, you have to do that yourself. She was like, because she knows I've left before. I started leaving when I was 25, but I kept being pulled back, and I recognized, and enter and over, understand that it was energetically that I was being pulled back. It was that devil energy pulling me back because I was their battery. And it gets deeper than my family, y'all. It gets deeper than that, because I really do believe my family's energy has been manipulated by a false twin flame and his witch of a karmic. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother conversation. That in itself is a beast, because I didn't know nothing about that. I didn't know anything about twin flame journeys, divine twin flames. I didn't know nothing. All of this stuff came at me like all at once, y'all. So my Gemini mind, and literally it's a Gemini mind, is like making sense of all the pieces and stuff that are coming at me. But so when I get over there, we talked for a minute. I played with her son, Noah. He's so smart, y'all. This boy is a whiz. He's a whiz. Excuse me, stinky breath, because it was 7:11 when I started recording. It was 8:44 just now. And of course I have not got out of bed to brush my teeth or anything, so you can't smell my breath through the phone though. So, and I don't even think it smells. You can smell your breath if you lick your top lip. Nope, don't stink. Because I fasted all day yesterday until about 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock last night, when I had a headache coming on all day, and I just kept drinking water, and I wound up eating a fruit. I had a half an orange and a whole apple until I ate my vegan chili and some gluten-free vegan crackers. But let me get back on subject. So I tell you why I'm happy. So even though I was expecting the worst yesterday, it wasn't the worst. It was a confrontation, but I nixed that in the bud once I hung up the phone, and I don't have anything to say to anybody else because I've already said what I needed to say, and I've already tried talking, and I've already tried doing all that stuff. So now, if anyone wants to talk, they have to try and talk to me. I'm open for a civil conversation. I can have a civil, intelligent conversation with no arguing, no raised voices. But the moment you come at me like that, it depending on how it gets started, you're gonna get that same energy. And I'm not trying to be living in no lower vibration. I'm not at all. So I get ready to go, and this is when I know God. I get ready to go. She was like, "Come on, let's go see the car." Y'all, spiritually savage here. Thank you for joining me. Let me tell you, God works in mysterious ways. Why? And I know she put it in the text message, but I wasn't paying attention to the text message. All I saw was, "You got a car." And all I felt was freedom. So everything else was obsolete to me. I didn't care what the make and model was. I didn't care how old it was. If it can get me from point A to point B, and right now point A to point B is this house, into the grocery store, or this house into the mountain, or to a park where I can relax, sit up under a tree. I am like super excited, y'all. Y'all just don't even understand this. This is freedom for me. This is so much freedom for me, because I don't have to ask people who don't even want me to ask to use their car at all anymore. And I know that's gonna piss the devil off because I'm not relying on them anymore. But that's a whole nother story. So we go outside, y'all. Why is this car my very first car that I bought myself for $700 down? Mind blown. Mind completely blown. I'm like, what, God? You bringing me back full circle? Is this a 360? This is 360. But what I tell you, every ending is a new beginning. Think about the serpent or the snake eating itself. I know it looks ominous. It looks scary. It looks like he's eating himself. And why would anybody eat themselves? But every ending is a new beginning. So why not look at it as a beginning? So even though I recognize that I had come full circle, I come full circle, y'all. To me, that signifies the end of this chapter and the beginning of another one. Because I can only go up from here. God answered my call. I know I was searching to get out, but he gave me a way out. It don't always happen the way we want it to, but it always happens the way it needs to. And I love that about God. And then I get to driving, and the car starts slowing down, and I'm pressing the gas. I'm talking about, I feel like Fred Flintstone. I'm talking about foot all the way down, and it just starts stuttering. So I pull over, and I turned the car off, because I know God didn't give me a blessing for me to not have a blessing and for it not to work, right? And my homegirl was like, I just got the car serviced. Everything is done. Now, I didn't ask no details. I didn't say, what all did you get done? I didn't say none of that stuff. Because, again, I was too excited in what it meant for me and what it symbolized. And I was just uber grateful. Just like super mucho grateful. So I pull over to the side. Now, mind you, I had gone far, because I had gone like maybe 20, 30 minutes already, and nothing happened. And it's an older model car. It's a Mazda Protege, which is my very first car, y'all, that I bought. I bought it myself. When my homegirl told me no, I couldn't drive her car no more without a license. So within 3 days, I took the money I saved up. I went and got my license, which I was procrastinating. I went and got my license, and I bought a car all in 3 days. In 3 days, I did. Just because someone told me no. No is a great motivator. It will motivate you to get up and do it yourself, right? So it did this like 3 times, and I pulled over on the side of the road, and I started speaking out loud. I was like, God, I know you didn't bring me this far to leave me. I believe in you, God. I was like, I'll keep saying your name and praising your name, God. I am literally talking out loud in the car. It ain't nothing new to me. So I pull over, And I wound up calling my homegirl, but then I hung up because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get home. She did her part. I'm going to get home. I don't care if I got to stop and pull over every 2 miles. I'm going to get this car home. Yeah, so I called, but then I hung up because I'm going to get this car home. And so about the fourth time, I'm about to pull over because it's doing it again. And it was sputtering, but it wasn't overheating. You know, I know a little bit about cars to know what to look for. I looked at there was gas in the car. I looked at the the pedometer, odometer. I looked at the heat odometer. Is that how you say that? What that is? I don't know. And it was in the middle, so I know the car wasn't overheating. So she wound up calling me back and she was like, "Are you good? Everything okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, but the car keeps stopping." And she said, "I don't know why." She was like, "Because," she said, "is there enough gas in?" And I said, "Yeah, there's gas in the car." I said, "It's not overheating." I said, "Because I'm looking." And she was like, "But we just serviced the car." And she was like, "Maybe it needs oil in it." That's what she said. She was like, "Well, do you have any money for oil?" And I was like, "No, I don't have any money." And she was like, "Okay, well, what do you have?" And I was like, she asked me about, the apps and stuff. And I was like, "No, I have Cash App." She was like, "Okay, well, let me download Cash App and I'll send you the money." So she sent me some money and I pulled over at a gas station and I pulled up to this tow truck and it was a white guy in the car. No judgment, but he didn't want to help me. He was like, "You know where to check the oil at? Do you know where the dipstick at?" And I'm like, "Okay, whatever." So I go into the gas station and there's this patron that's in there. And I'm like, "Hey, sir, do you know anything about cars?" And he was like, "Sure." And so I was like, "Well," and I'm explaining to him what's going on. And he's telling me what his synopsis is or, what it could be. And I'm like, "It's not overheating." So I popped the trunk. Well, the trunk was already popped. And I turned the car and he's like, "Turn the car and let me hear what it sounds like." And so while I'm doing that, the car is running, right? And so when I opened it, he noticed that there was a little box of spark plugs in there. He said, "Maybe it's the spark plugs." He said because he checked the oil was clean and it was full. He checked the antifreeze, which it was water in there. So he was like, "Well, maybe you should put some antifreeze in there when it goes down some." He was like, "But water is okay for now, but that wouldn't be the problem." And he was like, "She got a new battery in there." So I was like, "Yeah, she said she just had the car serviced." And when he seen the spark plug box that was still there, he was like, "Well, maybe," he was like, "depending on how old this car is, your spark plugs need to have a gap in it, a key gap." And I don't know what that means. And so I said, "Okay, well, I'm going to keep the box and I'm going to take the car like, to a shop tomorrow just to check it out, just to check the spark plugs or whatever, right?" But this whole time, the car was running while he's looking and he's checking stuff. Y'all, when I tell y'all, I made it to the grocery store, I made it home, and back to the grocery store without one single solitary issue. It didn't stop on me again. It didn't stutter. It didn't sputter. It didn't do anything. Mind you, the car was serviced in May and the car had been sitting. So when I get home, I see I missed a call from her. And so I call her back just to let her know that I'm home. And I was like, I didn't have any other issues. And I said, well, maybe the car just needed to run, for all the liquids and the stuff to get put through the transmission and all that stuff. Because I didn't have any issues. And I'm a fast driver, but because it's an older car, I didn't drive fast, but I did push it up to 70. And there was no issues. There was no issues. I mean, plus on our highways, the speed limit is 65. So, but I pushed it to 70 and I didn't even have to push it. It went effortlessly. Actually, when I was driving, it felt like I was going too fast. And when I looked down, I was only going like 60. I felt like I was speeding. But all in all, it was a win. See how the sun just came up? I came up with y'all with the sunshine, with the sunset, the sunrise. So now y'all see my hair on my satin pillow. Oh, Lordy. I'm going to do something to this mess, though. Don't worry. I'm going to do something. But I got a car, y'all. And if you've watched any of my 185 videos thus far, you know why this is significant. And the car itself is significant. It is my very first car, y'all. It is the very first car. That was a sign for me that I have closed a chapter. I have closed a section, and a new one is about to begin. So I'm going to get up today. I think I'm out of hiatus for the moment. And I have at least 20 videos for y'all. So I'm just going to get to posting them today. This will be the last one that I post, though, because it'll be caught up and up to date. I love you guys. I promise you, you've seen the challenges that I have faced if you've watched any videos. And if you haven't watched it, and I haven't even really given my full testimony yet, but I've given bits and pieces of it, you can surmise yourself what I've gone through and what I am continuously going through until I create some space in between me and the lion's den. As long as I do the work, God will deliver me. And I even told Marnie that was my homegirl's name. Thank you, girl. Thank you, girl. I appreciate you so much. Just a shout out for her. That pride almost got in the way because I've always had a difficult time asking for help. And it's not because I didn't want to. It was because of how I was raised and how I was set up and made up. So it was a combination of the two. Plus, I never needed anybody's help. I always made it happen. I always figured out a way. I always did what I needed to do. But when you are relying on God and your spiritual ancestors to guide you in your intuition, meaning it's coming from inside of you. It's not going to come from outside of you. Means you have to sit still, pay attention to what your spirit is telling you to do. And my spirit said, reach out for help, homegirl, because you're reaching out for help in the wrong places, which I was reaching out for help in the dwelling that I reside in. But if I'm in the lions, then why the lion want to help me get out, right? Why the lion want to help me get out? Don't want to help me get out, and I get that, I see that, I understand that, understand, overstand. So I swallowed my pride. But if you watched any of my other videos, you know I'm like, I was trying to wreck my brain, trying to figure out how myself. And I know we're not meant to do things by ourselves because we're all connected. And I was trying to connect the family I was born in, but they don't want to connect with me. They connect with each other. But I was an anomaly. I was an enigma, as my 5th grade teacher, Mr. Gropper, told me. I never forgot that. And so when people don't understand me, I get it. I am hard to figure out. I am hard to understand and understand. But I'm finally getting to know and understand myself. And this journey is not for the faint of heart. It's funny, I seen a meme yesterday, and it depicts everything about spirituality, because in the beginning, it's all fun. It is fun and it's exciting. But in the beginning, when you're on your journey, you're talking about synchronicities. I think that's the first thing people gravitate towards, because that's how God speaks to us. That's how your ancestors speak to you numerous ways, but God speaks through synchronicities and numbers, mathematics, right? And so I was the meme was like, it had all these numbers like 111, 333, 777, and that's the first picture in the meme. And then on the opposite side, it had like a wall full of papers, a man looking scatterbrain, different markings and lines being drawn and connection. It was so weird, but that's how it works, because it's not just synchronicity, it goes so much deeper than that. It's like you're uprooting yourself. You're uprooting your life. You ever uprooted a weed or a plant? You're literally feel like you're being destroyed, or like you're destroying the plant, but you're not. You're actually helping it, because you're uprooting it from its old home. You're loosening up the roots. You're loosening up the dirt up underneath the roots so the roots can dangle and it can breathe. And you're repotting it in a space where it can grow more, where it has more room to sprout out, where it has more room to grow and flourish. And that is literally what spirituality does to us. It uproots us from our false teachings, from our false knowledge, what we were fed from our childhood traumas, from our adult traumas. And it plants us on something very solid and foundational, and that has nutrients, and that feeds and nourishes us, right? And it's so worth it, y'all. Oh my God, it's so worth it. I don't know what the day is going to bring. I don't know what tomorrow will bring. A tomorrow will bring a better you, a better me. But yesterday taught me that it's going to be all right. I love you guys. Namaste. Namaste means I see and recognize the God in you. And if everybody lived by that, respected the God in people, this world would be a better place. It's going to be a better place, though. There are things happening that we have no control over. All we can do is do right by ourselves, do right by the people, and do right by God and our ancestors, and live our divine purpose, and help the planet to raise its consciousness. And as we do so, as we raise our own consciousness, we help the planet and those around us. Just because you are a beacon of light don't mean you have to stay around dark people. Because I believe the energies that are hitting the planet now are liberating us from the dark energies, from the devil energies. God is definitely separating the wheat from the chaff. Yeah, definitely separating chaff. And I see the word. Why does it sound so weird in my mouth? You ever have words that sound weird in your mouth? You gotta know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em. You gotta count your blessings one by one. I know I butchered that song, but you get what I'm saying. You get the point, don't you? You gotta know when to hold 'em, and you gotta know when to fold 'em. And when you fold 'em, that don't mean you giving up. No, you don't give up. You just recognize when you can pour into people and they're being receptive of your knowledge and your gift and your light. And when they're not being receptive and they're doing everything and anything to be void of the light, meaning they're not listening, they don't want to hear you, that's when you have to fold them. That doesn't mean you give up. You just recognize that you can't cast your jewels to swine. And I know that sounds harsh, right? I remember saying, I don't want to call people swine. I don't want to liken them to pigs. But that's not the point. The point is that you're trying to give knowledge to people that don't want it or can't handle it. Could be either or. It could be a number of things. Or maybe, just maybe, that they can't accept the light from you. So when that happens, you got to allow God to do his work. And I've been saying for a long time that I intervened in God's work. I was intervening. It wasn't meant for me to keep going. At some point, I was supposed to stop. But when you got black magic being done on you, you do things that you don't want to do. Seriously. You do too. Just haven't sat still long enough to recognize it. But I've talked for 30 minutes. And I'm about to get out and enjoy this day. I was about to say I'm going to go walking around the neighborhood, but I think not. I think I'm going to go to the mountain. I'm going to the mountain. Going to the mountain when you come. I'll be going to the mountain. I'll be going to the mountain. I'll be going to the mountain when I come. Oh, my loves. I love you guys. Have an awesome day on purpose, okay?